Hello, and welcome to this presentation introducing refillable sachets as a new packaging format for developing and emerging markets. Refillable sachets have the potential to improve consumer choice in developing and emerging markets, as well as improving the commercial case for businesses to sell products aimed at lower income consumers in developing and emerging markets, as well as significantly reducing environmental waste. My name is David Bosomworth. I'm from the Sequoia Partnership. And this presentation is a result of a project that was undertaken with a number of consortium partners, and our aim was to identify and test innovative packaging formats to improve sustainability. I'd particularly like to thank EasyServe, PI and Unilever for their help in preparing this presentation. The structure of the presentation that I'd like to go to, well, firstly I'd like to introduce the refillable sachet system, but I'd also like to look at consumer choice in developing and emerging markets and why we think there's a need for a refillable sachet system. Then I'd like to look at the commercial and environmental benefits of a refillable sachet system before finally looking at the next steps. So, the refillable sachet system. Well, clearly a very important part is the refillable sachet. And this is a sachet that is a flexible pack with a screw cap lid. Now the cap is a highly sophisticated cap that has a valve within it that allows the pack to be refilled without removing the cap first. So the dispensing device, which is consumer operated, can fill the pack without the consumer having to remove the cap first. So the consumer brings the pack to the dispensing device, places it in the device then fills the pack, and then the consumer removes the pack. Now the refillable sachet can be reused at least 10 times. And each time it is reused, the consumer has a price discount to incentivise them to reuse their packaging. So having looked at the refillable sachet system, we'd now like to look at why we think there's a need for a refillable sachet by looking at consumer choice in developing markets. And we'd like to focus on shampoo. Now, if we look at the consumer options for a well-known shampoo brand in India, we see that they can buy an 8 milliliter sachet. Now this costs just 2 cents. The next pack size up is a 100 milliliter bottle, and this costs $1.10, more than 50 times more expensive than the sachet. The next pack size up is a 200 milliliter bottle that retails at $1.98, and these prices are from 2009. Now what's significant here is the size of the gap between the sachet at 2 cents and the bottle at $1.10. If you're a consumer and you'd like to buy a pack size at around 30 or 40 cents, well actually you have no option of doing that. There is no pack size at that price. So you have to buy the cheaper, smaller sachet. Now this isn't just the case in India, this is across developing and emerging markets. So if we look at China at Head and Shoulders, we see the same thing. And if we look at Indonesia with the Sunsilk brand, we'll see again this significant gap between sachets and the smallest bottle size available. And this gap is one of the reasons why sachet sales are so popular. They're an affordable pack size, but also the next size up is very unaffordable. So you have no option to buy a pack size in the middle. Now, sachets are incredibly popular. There are billions sold around the world. But unfortunately, a lot of those sachets end as litter. And if you're a brand owner, this doesn't help your brand image, because this litter is litter with a logo. So there's a significant brand image problem of disposable sachets. So what I'd like to do now, having looked at consumer choice and the limited consumer choice in developing and emerging markets, is to look at the barriers to improving that consumer choice. If we imagine, why not have a 50 milliliter bottle that would give us a mid-range price point? Well, if we look at what the cost of that bottle would be, and we look at the packaging costs, we see that as bottle sizes decrease and go below the 100 milliliter point, the packaging cost per milliliter increases dramatically. And this is why there is such a price gap between sachets and the smallest bottle available, because very small bottle sizes are simply uneconomic to produce. If we look at what the packaging cost would be of a 50 milliliter bottle, and we compare that with the existing cost of the existing pack formats, we see that the 50 milliliter bottle is significantly more expensive. More than twice as expensive than the sachet on a per milliliter basis. And what this means is it's simply not economic to produce a 50 ml bottle size. The concept behind the refillable sachet is extremely simple. If the packaging cost of a 50 milliliter bottle makes it too expensive to use once and throw away, why not reuse the bottle to reduce the packaging cost? And in this way, we can improve consumer choice for low-income consumers. So, if we look at a 50 milliliter refillable sachet and look at what the estimated packaging cost would be, we see that it is in line with existing packaging costs. Now, included in the packaging cost of the sachet is not just the refillable sachet, but the cost of running the dispensing units to refill those sachets. And once we've included those costs, we see that actually there is a commercially attractive pack size here. So refillable sachets make it an attractive commercial proposition to sell a mid-range pack size. They also improve customer loyalty because you have a price discount for buying the product again. And finally, they help to address this brand image problem from litter with a logo. The environmental benefits are significant in that there's a significantly reduced amount of waste. If you take a 50 milliliter bottle, that is roughly equivalent to 7 individual sachets. But of course, the refillable sachet can be reused at least 10 times. So you're not saving 7 sachets, you're saving 70 sachets, significantly reducing the amount of litter and environmental waste. And if you're the manufacturer, when you sell a refillable pack for the first time, you are also selling a future revenue stream equivalent to 70 individual sachets. Okay, having looked at the commercial and environmental benefits, we'd now like to look at the next steps. So there is a working prototype of the dispensing unit and the refillable sachets, and the next step is to test these in the field to see how they withstand treatment in the real world. So there are 2 things to be tested here. Firstly is consumer reaction. Will consumers reuse their packaging and bring back their pack to be refilled? Now there is a price incentive to induce consumers to do that, and these are very price sensitive consumers. So there's a strong reason for consumers to reuse their packaging. The second aspect to be tested is the dispensing device and the refillable sachets in the real world to test how they withstand day-to-day use. That concludes this presentation. My name is David Bosworth. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen. I'd be delighted to talk to you if you'd like to find out more. Thank you very much for listening.